And then once the public meeting adjourned, you go into the special meeting. So, Madam Pro Tem members, we can start the public hearing, item number 1 on the public hearing agenda to consider levying additional or increased millage rates without further voter approval or adopting the adjusted mill rates after reassessment and rolling forward to the rates not to exceed the prior year maximum. So at this time, there's public hearing, public comment. I guess the public can come up and make comments in regards to that.
Yeah, call it. Let's take a roll call. Let's take a roll call to see if it's full.
Take a roll call. Turn performance.
Ms. Angela Chapman, District 8.
Here.
Mr. Henry Dolan, District B.
Here.
Mr. James Green, District C.
Here.
Mr. Derek Green, District D. Mr. Howard Locke, District E.
Here.
Board President.
We have a quorum for the public hearing portion of the agenda.
At this time, the public hearing is open. Anybody who wishes to make comments regarding this is free to come forward and make comments.
Okay.
Mr. Bradford.
Oh,
Public hearing.
I'm already been informed what it's about.
Okay.
I'm
I wasn't going to scoot on. Normally you are. Okay. Okay. All right. At this point, you could, the hearing is now closed. If there would be a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
So,
A second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
None opposed. Hearing adjourned.
We call it special meeting order, Mr. Madam.
Okay.
Yeah.
Call the order. Can I get a roll call to determine form?
Ms. Angela Chapman, District 8.
Here.
Mr. Henry Dolan, District B.
Here.
Mr. James Green, District C.
Here.
Mr. Derek Green, District D. And Mr. Howard Locke, District E.
Here. Board President. Will the staff at location and pledge allegiance, please? Council Dolan, please.
Lord, we thank you for the day that you've given us. We thank you for all your mighty works and wonder. Lord, I pray that whatever we do in this meeting, that you will get the glory out of it. Lord, I pray for our hearts and our minds that we may steer clear, that we may be clear, so we can get the best information we can going forward for the city of Bastrop. Lord God, thank you again for everything that you do. In Jesus' name I pray, amen.
Amen.
Salute, pledge.
United States of America, which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
Can we get a public comment as they relate to the items on the agenda, please, at this time?
You can come up to Mr. Bradford. We make a accommodation.
Good evening, Councilman and Mayor. I think that, of course, I see on number 8 here, the discussion of proposed 26 and 27. That general budget sewer and tax budget. If I'm understanding that right?
It's the general sewer and sale tax budget.
Yeah, discussion. I just want to know, when will that budget be available for public view? And when will it be posted? You know, how will we be noticed once you go into your, this is a discussion, I guess, tonight. And when we, once you get to the discussion, you're gonna post it for the public to have.
What day we gonna put it out?
I'm gonna take up his time, but I'm gonna give all the information out during the thing. I don't want to take Mr. Bradford's time.
Okay.
So we'll answer that for you,
Okay,
Mr.
okay, well. If I could yield, you could tell me, take a lot of time. That's the only question I have. You like to, Mr. If you like to tell me now, I appreciate it for my time. I might be leaving. You know, I had
You
another
give me
day.
the time. I mean,
Sure, I'll give you the time for you.
we got to post the budget, on, starting Monday. And,
June 1st.
June 1st, it'll be available for public use. We'll post it in the official journal. And the first consideration of the council will be at the regular meeting in July. And we also have the first public hearing on the budget proposal.
Okay, if I'm understanding right, it'll be posted June first. I can come get a copy, get a copy in time after June first.
You can pay for a copy if you want.
Well, I thought you were gonna post it, copy first.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look at it.
Oh, yeah.
If you want a copy, you can pay for a copy. Yeah.
Okay, I can go and look at it and, or maybe get a copy if not too, yeah, just to see, and while we're having this study, I would like to speak with council. Yeah, I would like to speak to council about maybe considering that this is a 26 and 27 budget, that maybe we can find some funding for our youth, create some jobs over the summer for, that's my concern with the budget. If we can, I know money tight everywhere we go, but if we can strap some type of funding into the budget, maybe hire 25 youth for 6 weeks before they go back to school, I think that'll help in our time. But we have several organizations trying to work with our young people. And I think that, we all need money, they need money, and that may cut down on crime. That I like for the council to consider that they can find the funding to do this, And I think we'll be moving forward. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, council.
Anybody else? On that kickback of, George has said, I have already got Mr. Ricky Smith looking into trying to find some funding for the summer program, if we can get one up. Appreciate you for that also. Announcements. I'd like to thank our very own Mr. James Green, Councilman James Green, Councilman Doty, for serving in our country, and all the other vets out there. And we also will have Juneteenth Day on June 13th, will be Saturday. We're planning on having activities in the gym, basketball and softball on the fields, and just enjoy it. So y'all come out. Any more announcements? All right, we'll move to 5, resolution 26-2135.
Does everyone have a copy of the resolutions? Do they here, Tristan, do they have this copy?
Yes, they do.
Okay. And what I was going to say, what I was going to say is those resolutions, 26, 21, 35, 26, 21, 36, those resolutions over the year that we were, or previous years we were here, heard many comments from others about, hey, we'd love to see what the 25 rates were, what this resolution is doing, which is that rate adjustment category and line, and then what the 26 rates would look like. So you have that resolution, and you also have the 26, 21, 36. That resolution has the rate adjustment that can be adopted, and it shows what they started at and what they ended at for all of our rates. Note that the top 6 are the only rates that are subject to increase this year or subject to adjust. But we listed all 10 of them because on previous years when we were doing this, people said, hey, one listed 10, one listed 6. So we made them match. We showed what the rate adjustment of each resolution would do. One stays the same, one shows the adjusted rate. So that you can have that year by year comparison of knowing what all our rates look like.
Councilman Doty?
Mr. Jones, these, the one particular item that I'm looking at is the sewer system. Do we have, is this money from the village, is this going to go into the actual sewer use fund, or is this money in the general fund, or how will this money be allocated, or where would it be allocated to?
So generally speaking, sewer funds, to give you an explanation of all these millages are what are provided back to our bonds. Our bonding is based on it. Our sewer bonds are paid out of our sewer funds. So they categorically go back into the sewer fund. I'm probably getting into Mr. Smith's territory. It's a little quasi-legal, as far as just the normal legal requirements in the budget, but, and if I'm incorrect, Mr. Smith, speak up, but the sewer millage goes to sewer operations, which goes into our sewer fund. The one that indicates a general fund up top, the top one, that would be something that would go into our general fund. That would be bonding based on our general fund, collections and receipts.
Is there a number that, that we're looking to bring in from each, one of these, or is has the number already been, is it already out there?
Correct. There is a number that each one of these millages is designed to bring in. That number is tied to the bonds that are related to it. So bonds are like loans. You get a set amount from that loan or that bond. The millage is designed to repay back that amount that you loaned. When the millage is not sufficient to pay it back, that money would then come from probably some other fund or general fund, and it's in violation of the bond contract. For the banks lending us money based on that millage, based on this, we agree that we will collect sufficient money to cover the bond or the mortgage payment or the loan note. Okay. So the reason why there's increases or rate adjustments is because we're collecting lower than what is required to pay the loan back. So that comes, if you don't collect enough to pay the loan back, then you're in violation of the loan terms.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that last thing you just said, just for everybody's clarification again, please?
We're currently not collecting enough to pay the loans tied to these rates.
Right.
So what happens is by law, they go through, they look at it and say, this is what you would have, rate you have to collect that to be able to pay the loan note that you agreed to pay. The reason why this goes to the state is because on all bonds, I'll call them loans because it's easier to think of them as loans.
Right.
The state is co-signed with you. If you default on your bonds or your loans, that's interchangeable term, then that can affect not only your city's rating, it affects the state's rating. So the state mandates in the loan terms or the bond terms mandate that you collect enough money to pay the notes. If you don't, then you're in violation and you can actually have your interest increased. It hasn't happened to us, but we're going on year 4 where we have not increased.
Point of information,
Yes.
Attorney Jones. Just for the record, these was already approved by the voters. We just haven't been rolling them up year to year. So this is nothing new. We just increasing the state afloat. Just want the people to understand this is nothing new. This is something that's already been approved by the voters. We just haven't rolled it up like most municipalities have. So I just want, you're saying that we're trying to be in compliance with the law, but just for the record, the citizens voted in the city of Bastrop for these millages. We just haven't been rolling them up. So this is nothing new. It's not like we're coming up taxing a new tax. This has already been on the book. We're just rolling them up so that we can be in compliance with the law and so we can have money to operate the city.
That is correct, Councilman Jay Green. These millages were all voted on by the voters. They all passed by majority vote. And it puts the real burden on the council because y'all act as administrators. The voters said, hey, we're in agreement. We're willing to pay this. We want to do this. But they put the council, the city council, as the person who oversees to make sure that there's enough rate collected to pay the notes. And so all that is occurring is that you're performing a function that is mandated by law that you collect to do it. So although a tough vote, it was voted on by the voters. It is just something that is clerical that y'all are doing. And during my time here, at no point have we had millage on the voter ballot. These things were done a lot of times years, 15, 30, 40 years ago, and they've continued through.
I'd like to finish up, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, Councilman. So,
Thank you, Councilman Gray, for the clarification. Again, we were talking about, how much money, was each one of these villages, gonna bring in. Do you have that number, or is that something that can't be determined?
It can be determined if you actually will look at the notice that's on the ordinances that originally came, the resolutions that came out. There's a notice that went out to the public that was advertised, and it was advertised at least 30 days in advance to show that the total amount of adjustment would increase the overall collections by 30,000, which would bring it to equal. It would bring it to, so the overall amount of adjustment is just going to increase 30,000 spread across all these millages. If you have an idea, so mills, one mill is $1 for every 1,000. So to give you an idea that when you add up these rate adjustments, you are looking at, that's 33, that's 45.5, 0.65. So you're looking at 65 cents on every $1,000 is what you're looking at. You're talking about a 65-cent adjustment.
Okay, again, I want to be clear. Is there a number that we have already that's set up
I don't think we have.
that we're going to receive?
Yes. It's on the notice. The overall amount of millage that you will receive based on these adjustments is $2,726,970.20. What is related to the increase, that 65-cent increase? $30,434.94. So out of what is ordinarily $2.7 million paid in millage that's received by us, it will cause an additional $30,000 to be collected. Very.
One last question for now. The sewer use, the millage for the sewer system. Are we gonna, I know we had talked about it once before. Are we gonna pay any money, like admin fees or anything out of the sewer use fund?
So the sewer use fund has been discussed. And I will tell you that currently, previous to this year with administration, the contract servicing the sewer, Viola, agreement was being paid out of general funds. Okay, which is why you saw a large surplus in sewer funds. That contract should be paid out of sewer funds because that is servicing your sewer system. So after this year, you will have a realistic view. You won't see this big surplus in sewer and wonder, why do we have a surplus but our rates are still up? Why can't we decrease our rates? Which is the most frequent comment that is asked of me. Well, that's because when you go to decrease rates, you have to look at what does it cost to administer the sewer. If you looked at what we were saving each year in that fund, the leftover surplus in the sewer use fund, you think, hey, we should be able to decrease. We have, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 still in there. What was happening is that when Viola came in, they paid it out of the general fund, not the sewer fund. We are now paying the Viola contract out of the sewer fund. So after this year, you will see for one of the first times, actually, how much does it cost to administer our sewer system? And then we'll be able to determine and look at things to see if there is the ability to have a rate study to see if our rates where they need to be. So that has been, Mr. Smith and the administration, the mayor have worked hard. Mr. Jay Green with the finance committee have worked hard to straighten those out so that we have accurate numbers of what does the sewer system cost us and how much of that is real surplus. Because what looked like surplus was actually just coming out of your general use fund.
Right, so the last question, the monies that we have in the sewer use fund now, right? Okay, and to add this on top of it, the millage rates. Okay, so if we're paying Viola, we're gonna be paying Viola out of the sewer use fund, right?
Correct.
Okay, so we pay them about, what, 1.4 or something like that every year? So, let's say in 3 or 4 years time period, if we got about $9 million now, and this is just a number. I don't know what the actual number is, but I'm just throwing that one out. We got $9 million now. If we pay $1.4 million every year out of the sewer use fund for Viola, that's going to decrease that fund year by year. And then we still have to pay for a project and thing that comes out of the sewer use fee as well too, right?
Well, let me answer that. Because we discussed that. I had the budget prepared for you to do that. You got to understand, look at the breakdown of what funds the sewer use. We charge our citizens a sewer use fee that we collect through people's water. And we also have bond proceeds that attribute to the fund balance.
Right.
So any spending that we would spend, more likely than not, it's going to be money on sewer projects, which the bond money is for. So it's not for to hoard and to keep in the bank. It's to be used for sewer projects to upkeep our sewer infrastructure. So the money that we charge our customers in this sewer use fee is more than what what you refer to as administrative costs. We generate about $1.9 million in just the sewer use that's paid, that's collected by peoples. And then what's attributed to the actual fund balance, which I don't have the balance sheet completed, but I have it for when the budget is posted Monday, goes towards that as well. Because all of that is sewer costs. But it's not, we're not paying in a sense what you call administrative fee through bond proceeds. That's not, if you break down the budget and look at it, that's, if you want to match it up like that, we're basically paying it out of the fees collected as opposed to the bond proceeds, if you want to look at it in a macro sense like that.
And the only reason why I pose that question is because, again, we were paying it out of the general fund, right? So now we're going to be paying all of that out of the sewer use fee. Then that number is going to continually drop every year, and that's just by order. That's not going to encompass any projects that we may have to pay out of that fund. So how do we at some point project is going to come up, because I think the last thing we got going on is that grant for $400,000. That was a capital outlay project.
Right. We only had to match 100,000. The rest of that was grant.
Right. So again, my question is how long is that money gonna last in the sewer use fund? Because again, if you're paying $1 million and something every year, it's by over, how long is that not getting going
to the extent? Because if you do those numbers, we collect 1.9, and then we pay 1.4, so we got a balance of $500,000. That's considered sewer use cash, because that's what we collect in fees. So we got a fund balance is over $9 million. It depends on what projects we got coming up. But if we only spending, 10 to 25% of each project, that's technically what we have to fund out of the sewer use. So depending on how many, 25% of $1 million, instead of $1 million, if we get a project every year, you subtracting that by $250,000 each year. With a fund balance that's significant, it's gonna be a while before it's depleted. So here again, that's for the purpose of passing the tax, is to maintain the infrastructure. So in the event that we run out or run low and we need to reauthorize something, we have the ability to do that, because again, the citizens see that you're maintaining the infrastructure based on the money that we approved. So it's just a matter of making sure that those projects get identified, we fund them, and we complete them.
And again, the question, they're not posed for any type of other reason than just getting the best information we can. Because when I'm asked those questions, run into people every day, and everybody has a different question about a different topic. So I try to educate myself the best on, when we come in here and we talk and we ask questions and we discuss things, that I can retain that information. So when I'm asked out the public sector, then I can get the best answer possible.
And I guess from the front end, I don't know why it was done like that initially, because again, you take $1.4 million out of the general fund that y'all could be allocating at other places, when you have a specific dedicated fund to carry out the very function that you're having that cost assessed and the infrastructure that's directly related to sewer. I couldn't understand why it was done like that in genesis of it. I don't know why it was done that way. So we corrected that and moving forward. That's just where we are. We can talk about that a little bit more.
We can get into it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. So what you have before you is resolution 2135, which would be the resolution to maintain with no rate adjustment. And then the other resolution that you have before you is resolution 2136, which is a resolution that would accept rate adjustments.
Okay, I'll make a resolution that I make a motion that we accept resolution 26-2135.
The second,
So,
and then all in favor?
This is gonna be this is the resolution that would keep the rates the same.
Well, I just asked she said we needed to accept both of them.
Well, we need to
Clarify.
no. Oh, yes, we would have to vote no on 21. If you want to.
Carol.
Yes, on both of them.
You come to the mic.
Oh, okay.
I'll call for the previous motion.
Disregard mine.
Okay, second. Yeah, you know about this. Councilman Locke, I get a roll call?
Ms. Angela Captain, District A.
Yes.
Mr. Henry Doty, District B.
Let's just say yes.
Vote.
Doty, did you vote?
You didn't vote.
You gotta vote.
yeah,
James Green, District C.
Yes.
Mr. Derek Green, District D. And Mr. Howard Locke, District E.
Yes.
And for clarity, out of abundance of caution, they always advise that you vote both of them, because if the second one that does the adjustments does not carry, then the first one that kept them the same does, and you don't have a situation where you don't have any rates. Okay.
Let me get to Mr.
Six.
Hold on, give me 1 second.
Which little one?
Good board.
Put on the queue. Hey, Matt.
Do resolution 2136.
This is the resolution that would, apply the rate adjustments as done. I would note that rate adjustment, fire department number 3 is a 0.12 rate adjustment, although it says 0.11 in the thing. I've notified Ms. Holmes that we would amend that before.
Which one is that again, Mr. Jones?
This is the rate adjustment underneath fire department number 3. It says on the rate adjustment category line, it says 0.11, which is about halfway down those. It's actually 0.12. We'll amend that to reflect that it's 0.12. It goes from 1.38 to 1.4. It's just an incorrect reflection of the difference in the two rates.
Okay, I make a motion that we accept resolution 26-2136.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Can you get a roll call, please?
Ms. Angela Tappan, District A,
Yes.
Mr. Henry Doty, District B,
Yes.
Mr. James Green, District C.
Yes.
Mr. Derek Green, District D, and Mr. Howard Clark, District E.
Yes.
All right, motion carries on that.
So as it goes to item 7, I would just ask that the council, so those rates, other authorized rates, those last 4 rates on those resolutions are the rates that are not changing. I would just ask that the council make a motion to adopt those authorized rates that did not change.
I make a motion to adopt those authorized rates that did not change.
I get a second? Council Doty, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's good. Motion carries. I want to thank Councilman Locke and I know I don't have to, and Councilman Green for coming today to make this happen. Appreciate y'all. I want to thank all the council, but you know, they went, not simply because they were here and they came because we needed them. We go with 8, discussion of the proposed 2026-2027 general sewer and sales tax budget.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Madam Pro Tem members. Again, you have proposed budgets for this sewer use, sales tax. It's pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot of changes in regards to those. Let's look at the sewer. The total budget on the revenue side is $2.5 million. And for the expenditures are also $2.5 million. There is a requirement of $386,000 come out the fund balance to balance the budget for this year. So there'll be a net decrease of about $386,000. So to kind of give you an idea of the rate that the fund balance may or may not decrease, because a lot of it depends on the double interest that we collect every year. So I would probably say anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000 annual decrease is probably to be expected.
Mrs. Smith, do you have a copy of the, proposed changes we had for,
For the sewer.
no, not for the sewer, for general? It says
Oh.
discussion of proposed.
I'm gonna see if we can tackle these two first, and then we get into the general fund. So I don't know if y'all have any questions about the sewer use. Any members, Mr. J. Green, you have any questions? All right, in regards to the sales tax, again, this budget is pretty straightforward, pretty routine as it always is. We have about $2.6 million of projected revenue to match $2.6 million of expenditures. There is about a little over $1 million of funding coming out the fund balance, and it's mainly to fund these capital outlay projects. So any questions about sales tax budget? All right. So again, the go back to the general fund budget. I think we went through every somebody took my budget. I think the finance committee meeting, we went through every I think department. I did in the updated budget, I did remove, made the city marshal a standalone department. I took it out of the administration as previously contemplated. So again, we plan to post the budget and advertise in an official journal beginning Monday. It's required to be open to the public for 10 days. The 10th day is the day before the next regular council meeting, which the council meeting will have a public hearing in regards to the budget proposal. And at that point, we'll go into what I call regular order to where the council, you can consider the budget. Again, at that point, you can make amendments, you can mark it up the way the council sees fit. If you attach, I put a document here that you can kind of use in your preparation to any changes that you want to make. Just a suggestion, I just put that together to kind of aid you in your process if you wanted to. So typically how this goes, I'm pretty sure just by recent history, it's never been really done like this, because I don't think that you really had a regular order before. But the administration budget is proposed, is put together. We're going to announce it. Public will make comments on it during the public hearing. And at that point, it's on the council to review, make adjustments, and ultimately adopt. At that point, you'll be put on the clock. You have to pass the budget by the end of June, by June 30th. So at that point, you can take the budget up and consider it, that whole meeting, or you can take up parts, and you can schedule a meeting every other day if you wanted to. Just need 24-hour notice to post it until y'all go through it and you can put it in posture for final passage, and then y'all pass it. So that's the process that we are in. Again, we did make a couple adjustments because the mayor did want to create some part-time positions for the summer program for the youth. That mainly came out of the access that Madam Pro Tem that you identified that was in professional services. So I reduced that and moved that into part-time positions. Mayor is working on setting that up and trying to decide how many positions he wants to create with that number of money. So we can kind of back into the number of part-time student positions based on that number. And again, we go into regular order. the budget is proposed by the administration for consideration for the council. At that point, you know, y'all on the clock, y'all can adopt the budget as is, the June meeting, or you can take your deliberative process and you have to call special meetings between that meeting and the June 30th and set the budget up.
And I saw that it has been a finding on passing the budget. So we're gonna be transparent and work together. If y'all see something that you don't like in the budget, we can adjust it and fix it and get this thing passed on the fly. Councilman Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Smith, let me begin by saying I went back through and I wouldn't say a deep dive, but had to go back and balance some of the departments against what was on the personnel report. If you go, let's see, I want you to follow along with me.
Just see with a line and page number.
Yes, sir. It should be going back to page 10 of 11. Next to the last page, that's where I'll start. The police department. Okay. For regular employees, you have a salary of $725,000. Okay. Did we budget for all 12 police slots when we did that? And the reason why I ask that is, if you go by what's on the personnel report, and again, let me back up one quick second. That's why I was asking about the organizational chart, because there are some jobs that are attached to the city or any organization that are essential and necessary to function, no matter what's going on out in the environment. So with the $725,000, what I did was I went by the personnel report and I got all of the firemen salaries, and those salaries from the fire, from just those 13 people we have working now was $701,000. And so I know we have spot for 12 positions for patrol in the police department. So if you match what's on the personnel report, all the personnel report does is show you what we have on hand. I can't see if we have slots that are not filled. Again, that's why the organizational chart is more important. And I know we discussed that, but again, this is in going back and looking at it 2 or 3 or 4 more times. The salary there is $725,000. All that encompasses is what's on the personnel report. Personnel report is you got 7 patrol, you got 4 dispatchers, and then you have a chief and assistant chief. Well, those other 5 slots of the 12 that we did last year, they're not on there. I don't see how we're budgeting for those extra 5 slots, because it's supposed to be 12 patrol, period.
Well, what you're not calculating, Mr. Doty, you look at line 335 and 337. I broke salaries down into regular employees and I counted for the overtime. Because what happened during the course of this current fiscal year is that the positions that were originally contemplated in the budget weren't filled. So to compensate from those positions not being filled, officers had to work overtime. So in the event that the chief, he's not here, had tried to resolve some of the staffing issues, we will have it in the budget because we won't be paying officers time and a half. We can replace that $215,000. And I don't know what the average salary would be, because if you fill positions, that could be entry level, or could be somebody with experience. So that $215,000 is probably enough to fund probably 5 to 6 vacancies. Well, I think 40, maybe 45 vacancies, depending on when they come in. So you have to look at salaries in the totality to do that, because that's one of the things that's the reason why I broke it up, to see able to track this, because we want to be able to not spend money in overtime, turn that overtime funding into permanent position. So the money's there. It's just I slide in overtime because it's based on the trajectory that we've spent this current fiscal year and years in the past.
Mayor.
So that's the answer to your question. That's where the funding will come in for those additional positions. But again, the chief can explain to you his plan for as moving forward and filling positions and his improvement strategy. So that's where the money will come in.
So the basic, one of my questions still would remain, how do we, if we don't know how many slots that we're supposed to budget for, and then we put a salary number expense out there of $725,000. Again, I had to go back in and I had to do a deeper dive to realize that those extra, not extra, but those other 5 slots were not budgeted for. So if we're not budgeting for it on the very top line of where the actual salaries is, again, as proposed to overtime, I guess that's a way to do it, but I would just assume if we were gonna do it like that, because again, let's say you fill those other 5 slots and they're incoming, and say they're 30 to 35,000. That's $175,000 right there taken out of that 215. So
and then you make the adjustment, and we won't have 215,000 in overtime, nor will we need it, because those positions are filled. Again, I think the chief addressed that during the course of this fiscal year. He wants so many shifts, and I think it's 3 officers per shift. Again, he will be able to tell you that. I can just recall, I think he wants, is it 4 shifts with 3 officers per shift, and some other kind of structure with that. But again, this is the same level of funding that we that was in this current year's budget, separated, because we want to be able to track overtime, because we're hoping that the chief will be in a position to recruit, fill these full-time positions, so we won't need to spend $200,000 in overtime.
okay, so if we don't fill those positions,
then we have to spend it in overtime, because those officers have to do the work.
okay,
And
so
then that's why we budgeted that way.
that's where I'm going. If we don't fill those positions or leave those positions, budget for those positions off the top, and we don't fill them, then you still have over $200,000 in overtime you're looking at. Again, if I was at the department and I was running the department and I saw I had 200 and something right off the bat, $200,000 in overtime, man, I'd be saying, yeah, I'd be sitting real pretty, with a number like that.
The only thing that we spending it anyway. I'm just breaking it out so we can monitor it. So I'm just not, I guess I'm trying to understand the distinction without a difference, because it's usually just rolled all in together into one. I separated it because the mayor wants to monitor overtime.
And I think I asked maybe to speak next.
I wasn't done. Yeah, I wasn't done.
Okay.
So it's not that they're gonna look at it and say, oh, we got all this overtime spent. We're spending overtime because we're short-staffed and we are relying on the current officers that we have to work. So again, I'm trying to answer your question in a way, because I don't fully understand it.
Let me see if I can clarify this a little bit further. if we've got 12 slots, patrol slots, what I would like to see is those 12 slots budgeted for. If I only see 7 slots budgeted for, and then we have to make up for it out over time, then again, to me, I would think that we would want to make sure that from the very beginning of the budget year and the process, that we budget for enough jobs. Remember, we cut 12 slots. And again, this is just not police department maintained. I saw it throughout other departments as well. But I'm starting with the police department. I don't understand why we would not budget for the whole 12 to begin with, and then work with a smaller number on overtime or whatever you want to do. Because again,
Because you're gonna overstate your budget, Mr. Doty, and we're not doing that.
what you're supposed to budget for.
No, we budgeting what we're supposed to, because in the perfect world, we don't want this much overtime because we want those permanent positions filled. I just separated it as an accounting thing so we can track it. Because if separating it bothers you, Mr. Doty, you could just add it together in your mind and say this is salaries for everything. Because it's just an account entry.
Again, you go back to the organizational chart. If you're going to prepare an organizational chart, then how would you put that on there? Would you put those 12 slots on there, or would you leave them off? If you're doing a chart, and that chart is going to list the amount of jobs in a specific department. So what do you do if you do an organizational chart? How do you list or not list those jobs if they are in the budget?
You list them as vacancies. And if those vacancies are filled, then we're not gonna spend $215,000 of overtime. The scenario that you just gave, you fill those positions and there's $175,000 to fund those, you subtract that from 215. And when we do the budget adjustment, because those positions are filled, you're gonna have the same total salary down in those 3 columns. It's gonna be the same. It's just gonna be allocated differently because we're not gonna need to budget $215,000 in overtime because those positions are actually filled. Because if I didn't break this out, Mr. Doty, if you add the 725 plus the 215, that's the total salary for regular employees that includes those vacancies. There's no, how do I want to say this? There's nothing preventing the chief from hiring 3 officers for the 4 shifts that he wants because we have the budget for it. It's just broken down in these 3 different categories. Because I do think they have 1 part-time that I gotta switch over and take that out to the 725 because I think they have 1. She's part-time. I think is the detective. So that change is gonna come, but it's still gonna come. It's gonna reduce to 725. So again, Mr. Doty, this is just to look at what the current trends were, because we on pace to spend $725,000 regular employee salary, and then 215 on overtime, because we don't have the police staff at the levels that the chief wants. So the current officers are having to work overtime. We have to pay those time and a half at least. So it's more expensive to pay overtime. That's why it's incumbent on the chief to recruit and try to fill these positions. Because again, we're gonna be right at the same number. It's gonna be balanced. And at the end of the year, we're gonna spend over $200,000 in overtime because we hadn't had those spots filled. Because it's easily to fill them and just make a journal entry, moving that money from that category to regular salaries. When the only reason why I'm separating this though is to track it. Because I could have done it like it's always been done, just dump all that whole number, which is gonna be almost $1 million in salaries, and just leave it like that. And what it would tell you then? Because the same thing, the chief will come up here and tell you, this is my current staff, this is what I want, and this is what it will be. It'll be the same thing. It's a distinction without a difference.
Again, not to make a big thing out of it. If you did it like that, went back to the, and again, this is just talking. If you did it like that and you went back to the old way of doing it and you put put both of those numbers together and you operate out of the $1 million, right? Then tell me how would you track that as well too? How would you know who worked overtime, how much overtime you worked? There's gonna be a report that's generated, right?
Yeah, so I got the numbers from.
Okay, so it's basically the same thing. The only thing I have an issue with is not budgeting for the correct amount of slots that we're supposed to have.
And the only thing I'm telling you, that this administration does not want to fund vacancies because essentially they're already funded. They're just in the form of overtime right now. So I'm not going to fund, or we're not going to ask the council to fund regular salaries, overtime, and then the vacancies that we hope to fill because you inflate the budget. And if you don't have revenue to match it, then you're going to deficit spend for no reason, at least on paper. So that's why we're going to amend the budget every quarter, because this is another tracking mechanism for accountability. That's all. It's not, you know, it's the same number. It's just I'm showing you what that number represents. It represents overtime and regular salary. And if the chief is able to fully staff his office, his department, then those salaries are going to come out of what I earmarked as overtime. Period.
Okay, we can,
Okay.
thank you, Mr. Reed, thank you. We can talk about some more.
Councilman Tappy?
Okay, and I expressed my concerns about this when we was talking about the budget. 2 weeks ago, rule of thumb, you should never calculate overtime into your budget. It's supposed to come out of the salaries you use to staff. You should base it always around just your monthly needs. So I am not in agreement with separating the overtime from the base salary. If it comes out of the general amount that we spend every month, if we are doing quarterly meetings like we're supposed to, we will see where we are with the overtime. And when we see where we are with the overtime, then we might have to regroup, revamp, and try to figure out another way if we need to try to push and have a job fair or something, but it should not be separated. It should come out of the monthly salary. And I understand you said there's a tracking mechanism, but there's a report to tell you how much overtime you have used every pay period.
Councilman, you do, Councilman Tappy?
I am.
Councilman D, Jay Green?
Information for Mr. Jones. Mayor, more specifically you. This police chief is not here to answer. When we passed the budget last year, we gave the police officers a raise. That's when we need the chief here. And we need the rest of the supervisors here so we can address certain issues that we thought we had resolved by the last time around. That's why we need to gauge last year to this year. When you talk about overtime, I kind of understand what Mr. Smith is saying when he looked at it, and I understand what Councilman Tappan is saying. When we're looking at the overtime slots, he's saying,
Yes, we did.
okay, what the problem is the chief said that last year that we was gonna be up to certain numbers because we gave a raise. And from the looks of it, they calculate they say the overtime is when you calculate the overtime, I think what he's trying to do is separate it out so you can see how much overtime you spent, and you can just equate that to how many officers that he could have hired without providing overtime. When you look at the breakout of overtime and you do the base salaries, you say, hey, we spent X amount on overtime. That could be 3 regular police officers. I think that's what he's trying to
That's correct.
show the council. I think that's what it's all about. Councilman Doty, when he's saying about the 12 slots, if you look at it, I kind of agree when you're looking at it, you budgeted for 7 slots, but in actuality it's 12 slots. But you saying you're not thinking for those slots are really not filled, so you're not going to budget for those So you saying every quarter you're gonna come back in case the chief happens to hire another person, and then you're gonna subtract it from that. If you just keep going up and up each quarter, hopefully he'll get to 12, but we haven't been at 12 in maybe last 3 or 4 years. So you're not looking forward, you're looking back as to what has been budgeted for the last couple of years. You're doing a snapshot in the past versus the future. That's how you're drawing up your budget. Point of information for you.
And that's absolutely correct, because again, these are actual numbers, not aspirational things. And it's fine to be aspirational, but like Councilman Green just said, we had hoped to have 12 slots, 3 each shift, but that's not the reality. So if we don't budget based on the reality, then I'm not sure what we're doing. Because here again, this is what the reality is. And I'm making sure that y'all have real-time information to the extent that I can give you, so we can track this not only from an administration standpoint, but the council standpoint, because you should be able to know this. Because again, if there's situations, like I say, the chief can answer those. And again, this is just a discussion. We're going back to regular order. So when y'all considering the budget for adoption, of course the department heads is going to be here. They're not going to be here into this point, because we just
Chief
discussed
Reed
it.
is on vacation, man.
Right. And again, if he knew that y'all had hearings on the budget and you had public safety for that day, he will be here.
Point of information, no, sir. Not to point anybody out. I'm talking about everybody that has a contract with the city, that's a department head. When we get ready to do the budget, when we get ready down to the crunch numbers, we need to have everybody to come before us and state their case as to why you need X, Y, and Z.
Right.
Because that's what accountability is about. When you start looking back over what we're spending, everybody has to be held accountable. We need to know why, what services are you providing, and what are you doing? Like Ms. Tappan stated, she's looking at the overtime. You're looking at Mr. Smith is looking at what they spent last year. Ms. Tappan is saying she don't want to budget that overtime in from last year. She want to kind of segregate it out. You actually budget in last year, and it goes to what Councilman Doty is saying. You budgeted for 7 because you make it up for that 12. That's in overtime. But I know what you also saying too. If you don't budget that overtime, we probably gonna come up short. So it's a catch-22. But I think each department head, anybody that does business with the city, need to come before us and tell us exactly what are you doing to get city money? What type of services are you doing? What have you done in the past? And what are you prepared to offer the city in the future? That's oversight.
Right. And that's why I said we're going to come back to regular order, because I don't think that y'all have ever done that before. Because what Mr. Green is talking about is part of regular order. Because when we put the budget out, that's a proposed budget for the community to get its first look at it. Then when y'all start the appropriation process, which y'all have never done before, which this administration giving y'all opportunity to do, if everything that Mr. Green is talking about, y'all can set up the schedule right y'all want to. Say, okay, the first meeting, we're gonna look at it, and then we're gonna set a series of meetings after that to consider the budget. And we're gonna take administration this day, we're gonna take public safety this day, we're gonna take public works this day. I have which way you want to set it up. Whatever the regular order looks like is whatever regular order y'all set. So here again, we're trying to get back to regular order. The administration has put together a budget proposal, and it's a proposal. It's not for y'all to rubber stamp. It's not for y'all to say, go ahead, Mayor, do this. We're going to facilitate our responsibility and role. We're gonna put it out there, have it advertised, make it available for the public, and then y'all start the appropriation process. How that looks, you can get input from the administration, or y'all can come up with it yourself. I like what Mr. Green is talking about. Y'all can separate it. Y'all can take up, departments on this day, and you set whatever schedule you want to set. We can do that in the finance meeting before the next regular meeting. Y'all can set appropriation schedule. how y'all wanna look at it. Cause again, any adjustments that y'all wanna make, the council will have to approve it, because that's part of the appropriation process. I know it's new, because it's never been done,
Trying to work with you.
and we're trying to work with you, because we're doing our role, and y'all role is to adopt the budget, mend it, mark it up, do whatever you want to do with it, set it up for final passage. The only thing I ask, pass it before June 30th.
I got one other point of information for you, Mr. Smith. One other point of information. And I like when you breaking the overtime out, because that's when I said we want to speak to the department heads and to anybody that's responsible for managing their department. Because when you show us the overtime from last year, you break it out. We want to go and look as to why did you incur overtime? So it's accountability. When I see that you spent X amount of dollars on overtime, why? We do a SWOT analysis and see why is it costing your department so much money in overtime? Is there another way that we can go about reducing overtime? So I'm kind of glad you break it out. That give us a snapshot as to how the department is ran and where their deficiencies are. And we can look and ask them about overtime, whether it's personnel or just operational costs of the department. So that's what I'm saying. We really need to speak with those persons that are in charge of each department, if we identify a problem, we need to speak to the person that's directly over that department, so we can get some insight as to how the department is being ran and what can we do to cut costs.
Because Mr. Doherty, this administration is not gonna have dual budgets to where, okay, we got a budget, so where we can do accountability and oversight and not give that to you all, because we could have rolled all this up to how y'all always done it. Now support the regular order process and let y'all figure it out. All the while the administration is able to have these numbers to track everything to make sure.
Point of order.
So,
Listen, I understand, I really do. And I'm not having a big, if you think I'm having a problem with the way it's broken down, that's not the issue. How it was done in the past and all of that good stuff, bad stuff, that has no bearing on what we're trying to accomplish here right now. That has no bearing on it. If we say we're going to work together, then let's forget about what happened a year ago, 2 years ago. We can't, if we say we're gonna operate, we're gonna work together, then that means that there's gonna be some discussion topics that may go a little bit longer than some other items. So again, what happened a year ago or 2 years ago, that I'm so far from worried about that. I'm worried about what we have in front of us. That's it. So let me ask this question. Do we have in each department, do we have the number of employees that are in each department? The exact number of employees. Do we have the fire have, how many employees, if you'll allow me, since Chief Williams is here? No. This is the part of it. Because again, I'm asking, what I want to know is how many employees do we have in each department? That's a number that ought to be readily available and spouted off the top of your head. I don't care what day it is, what month it is, what year it is. A department head ought to know how many employees that they have in their department, right?
Right.
So if they know, then the rest of us should know.
That'll be addressed in regular order. We're not in
I was putting it out there because we in a discussion.
Right. So, I mean, that's good. They say
Right.
you want to know this when you get to doing that department. So that's noted. The chief heard it. We heard it. So you should have an answer when you do regular order. Because if you don't, you should have a problem because you've already asked for it. And that's should be given to you when we take it up, when y'all start the appropriation process. If it's not, then you hold those people accountable.
So these were put on here for discussion, right? These topics were put on here for discussion. So we're in order with what we're doing, right?
Right.
Okay, just want to make sure we were in order.
I have one more comment. Mayor, I will say, we did have a pretty stringent process, last year of going through the budget, line item by line item. We had a lot of long meetings, a lot of discussions, we amended a lot of line items on the budget, so this is not the first time that we've done this. We spent hours on hours and hours doing this. And, Bishop Bradford can attest to that, and Mr. Green, so we did have this process before.
What's the problem? What process?
Stages. This is some of the different
He's
stages
getting it figured
of the
out.
budget.
Oh.
I'm just saying, we have, last year, we went through all the stages.
Y'all just had one, right? Last week or something?
So, yeah, so we're doing it. I'm saying, it's not new to us.
Yeah.
We've done it before. No problem at all.
Anybody else?
What number?
The law number 8, discussion and next of adjournment. Anybody got anything else? Is there a motion to end this?
I make a motion.
Y'all wanna speak to that?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?